Welcome back to consecutive day 984 of a diary of a Runpreneur. And today I want to talk to you about negotiations and trying to find that win-win result. So please do give us a subscribe, share, like and comment, as the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the challenge and how you can get involved is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always, and let's get started. So, consecutive day 984 of a diary of a Runpreneur. And today's topic is negotiations and trying to find that win-win result. So the reason for this topic today is another busy day. I'm off skiing on Saturday. It's Thursday night today, so lots of things to box off before I head off for the week. But there's been a constant. It's been a constant emotional roller coaster the last few days, and I talked about this yesterday. But the reason for the topic today is that I've met with an old friend who I'm trying to structure an exit from my property portfolio, and I've thought long and hard about this decision for a long period of time. And it's just come down to the conclusion that 80% of the challenges I face in my business group all stem from 20% of the business, which is my property portfolio. And if I can release funds from that, I can reinvest it into more investments that are in line with what I do in social housing, with social housing providers. So today has been first at the beginning of the day, again exciting, again discussing this new business opportunity I'm looking to progress. Long way off yet, but every day we kind of get a little bit closer and we're nudging that needle forward. It's exciting. But the latter part of the day was this negotiation with an old friend who's potentially looking at taking on the property portfolio under a purchase lease option arrangement. And there is lots of work to be done with the portfolio to get it to the level that he wants, because his model, my model was always to work in the social housing sector, although we were self-managing, whereas his model is to switch it over to a more blue-collar or professional style tenant, which is a different strategy. And ultimately the properties will need a lot of uplift in terms of standard furnishings need to be provided, lots of kind of new kind of processes and systems in terms of managing utilities, etc., and it all need to be implemented. So there's quite a lot of upheaval, a lot of cost implications around it, and that was his major concern. He has an investor who's partnering with him, and he was just consciously concerned about the return based on the potential increase in renovation costs than what could be projected, i.e. if you're offering an investor a return and it's based around a variable figure, i.e. the cost of renovations, that it's only when you get into it you can kind of find out all the hidden extras, etc., that it can make that return drop below what that investor is expecting, and it causes a kind of strain on his relationship with his investor. So we're kind of back and forth in this, and there had to be a lot of compromise, because there was a point where the deal was potentially going to be lost. He was just finding it too risky to proceed with, and it was a lengthy couple of hour negotiation really. And then in the end we've kind of come to a potential compromise which can kind of appease all parties involved. And there has to be a flexibility in terms of the price, because he's concerned about putting more money in versus the cost he's securing the assets at, and I'm looking at my equity figure that I'll release based on the sale and reducing that figure to a degree across the portfolio based on the works that needs to be required. The big conundrum is what are the works to be required. So we have kind of three levels of renovation, like worst case where basically the house is falling apart and it's complete, ripping out and starting again. And then there's best case where it just needs some minor cosmetic improvements, which comes at a cost. And then there's an average in the middle. So we're running scenario analysis on all of the portfolio, on all the assets, and looking at what the return is on a worst case, what the return is on the best case, and on an average case. And then over the course of the portfolio, it will be somewhere in between across on an average basis. And if the investor is then happy with that, it kind of de-risks him to a degree, because the risk is spread over multiple assets as opposed to an individual property acquisition. And then I would be flexible based on the cost. So once the renovations have been done, and I will have some control over the renovations using my internal construction business, if we can get those prices down lower, the price can be increased in favour of me. If we overspend, then obviously my price that I sell for reduces slightly. So I think that was a real happy compromise, and it seems that there's the foundations of a potential deal there. And the benefit to me is that upon agreement, he'd take complete control of the portfolio. He'd cover all the costs, so I would no longer be dealing with increased interest rates, all these types of things that kind of come and cause, I wouldn't have to deal with voids and problematic tenants, all this stuff. Now, I know that I have processes and systems and teams in place to deal with it, but I still deal with having to manage these people in a job which, you know what, it's quite a brutal, draining job, and it's something that I've understood that property management is not my forte, it's not my strong point, and we want to come out of that model and moving into more investments where social housing providers can be placed who take on the management as part of the agreement. So I think the moral to the story today is ultimately understand the stakeholder or stakeholders' concerns and try and box them off one at a time, because this is a guy who is pretty risk averse, and he was assuming that I was going to be much more demanding on the sale price. When in actual fact, I'm looking for fairness, but in return for fairness and a reduction in sales price, I'm looking for the pain to be taken away immediately. So he takes control of the portfolio rather than doing it over the course of a structured period of time over the next few years. So with capital gains allowances reducing, there's not a huge tax benefit for delaying this anymore. So it makes more financial sense for me to move now, take that pain away, i.e. within a matter of weeks or months, as opposed to dragging this out over a number of years and trying to get greedy with the price, when in actual fact the overarching cost of that would be a distraction to what I'm doing in the businesses that I am really focused on and looking to grow and scale up. And the cost of the distraction of still running the portfolio would be quantifiably into a deficit for me. So yeah, moral to the story is never make assumptions in negotiations, and try and ask as many open-ended questions to really understand the fears, issues, obstacles, risks of the stakeholders involved, and then work a solution which eradicates each and every one of them, and you will far more often find a win-win solution. It's not over the line yet, but it's a lot closer than it was when we started the negotiation, and you know what, it could be much better for me in the long run. So I'll keep you posted on everything that happens. Any questions or comments, drop me a line, I'll respond to everyone. But do remember to give this a subscribe, share, like and comment, as the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the challenge and how you can get involved is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.